Okay, Nathan, I told you that I would show you what pots that I used. I'm going to make potato soup today. This is a combination recipe from my husband's mom's recipe and my mom's recipe. And I also was going to show Nathan my pots that I use. And I'm going to use a smaller pot than I used to use when the kids were growing up, two pots to make soup. Because I grew up with a family of 6, and I had 3 siblings and my mom and my stepdad, and so we made big pots of soup. And so I acquired some also because I did Girl Scouts, also because I worked in a professional haunted house for 5 years, and so we took turns making food for everybody. Girl Scout camp, we had like 25 kids in our unit. The whole camp, we had like 150 people, but each unit made stuff. We cooked food for each unit, and so I acquired a lot of pots and pans just because I came from a big family. We had family gatherings because I did Scouts. I also did Cub Scouts with my son. And here's some pots and pans that I used. These are really big. This pot is older than I am because my mother had a cook set, and it's well used and abused. She bought it when she was in college, and then I inherited it, so it's really in pretty good shape considering that it's older than I am, and I'm 51. I'm not shy about my age. Here's the pots and pans that I acquired, and when you compare them to, they're a bit dusty because I got them out of storage. There's that one. When you set it next to that one, it's quite a bit shorter. And I don't know how many quarts it is. Here's the other one that I used. And you can see, oh, it's got a dead bug in it. Didn't know it. You can see they're quite a bit taller than the other pots and pans. And I've got this on a tripod, so there we go. You can see comparison-wise that they're quite a bit taller than the other pot. I'm going to set it up this way. They're also quite a bit bigger around. If I take this pot and set it, I can almost set it inside. If you look down on the pot this way, let me get my... You can see it's pretty big. Same goes for the other one. Like I said, I got out of storage, so there's dead bugs in it. I didn't get rid of those. I'm not cooking in this pot today, or I'd be washing it up. And then I get this pot. It's taller and smaller around on top, so this pot still fits inside of it. But just barely any lip on it at all. You can see around the edge of it. But it's so much taller. So it's a lot taller than that one. And I've cooked a lot in these. If you want to compare the burner, here's a standard burner on my stove. So you can see that it's so reflective. So I just cleaned it today. Tighten down that. See how reflective it is? You can see my camera in it. It's so clean. So that's how that pot sits on it. That's how that pot sits on it. This pot, this big pot, takes up a lot of the stove. It just is huge. It takes up most of the stove. And if I were to cook with these 2 pots, I wouldn't be able to get any other pots on the stove. It just is impossible. You can see my tea kettle is back there. It still fits on there with this big pot, but it's not fully, yeah, there. It's fully on the burner there. The tea kettle still sits back there. Yes, I use a tea kettle. I like hot cocoa. It's snowing outside today. I can also make tea. I like herbal teas. My husband likes Earl Grey. Let's see, it could cook there. So I could cook one, I could use one back burner. Wonder if I could get that one back there. No, not really. I need a smaller pot. So these are my pots that I use for really big stuff. But today I'm going to use this pot. And it was the old Teflon, the really good Teflon. That's why the bottom of it's kind of scraped up. And then I'll go and get all my stuff out that I got to chop up for the potato soup. You know what? I decided I'd measure these. So let's get a tape measure out. This one measures across. Let's see, the inside measures. What does it measure here? 11 inches. And it is, see if it'll focus on it, about 9.5 inches tall. This one measures from inside 13 inches. And it is about 8.5 inches tall. This one measures across about 10 inches, not quite 10 inches, 9 3/4. And it is about 4 1/4 inches tall. So that gives you a comparison as to what size they are. Okay, so these are the potatoes I'm going to use. I've got to peel them, and then I'm going to dice them up, and then I'll put them in the pot. So that's step one. And I love this peeler, and you can get peelers anywhere, but I like this one because it peels really well. Anyway, I'll go do this in the sink so I'm not so messy over here. Okay, so I got those all peeled, and I put them in the pan, and I didn't have quite enough to fill the bottom of the pan. That's my indicator of how many potatoes I need. So I went and got a couple more, and I will now chop those up, and we'll put some water in the pan once we get them all chopped up and put them on to boil. And I guess you call them cubed, diced, I don't know. Anyway, make sure my knife is sharp. It is. Otherwise, I have a knife sharpener for that I do by hand. I got it at a, I can't remember if I picked this one up at Walmart or if I picked it up at a hunting place. But I really like it. This one I do by myself. I can also do scissors on it. The scissor part is right there. This is the portion for the knives, and then I also have a steel. I do my own sharpening with this because I never learned how to use a whetstone. My stepdad didn't teach me how to do that. He didn't think it was that important, just like the compass, which I learned through Girl Scouts how to do. I really like this one because it's got a protector for your fingers. You basically set the knife on the counter this way, and then you just run this along the edge of it. I really love my knife sharpener. I may have to do a video on that sometime. So on the, let's adjust this a little bit. There we go. So for the potatoes, you just basically cut them in thirds. It's the easiest way to do it. I have too many on here. Let's make this a little safer. So basically you cut your potatoes into thirds. Gonna need some more light on this. Like so. So you've got 3 parts. And then you cut them in thirds this way. And it makes them kind of like julienne, like if you were going to do French fries. They make really nice fries that way. And keep them all together. And then all you have to do to cube them is cut like this. And makes really nice bite-sized pieces for when you're going to put them into your soup. And they don't have to be even and uniform, but they're really nice pieces for going into the soup that way. And then you can scrape them off into your pot. And when you have your pot, don't use the cutting edge of your knife, use the flat edge. Use this edge that you're not cutting with to scrape them off into your pot. And then that way you don't dull your knife. And we really need some more light on this. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, that's better. So, maybe we can see this better. So what I do is I take and I cut these in 1/3. And cut it in 1/3 again. And then just cut along it, making diced pieces, or chopped, however you want to look at it. Make it into blocks. Oops, lost that one. And then you can either pick it up by hand, or you can pick up your cutting board and scrape it into it, making certain you use the non-cutting edge of your blade to scrape it so that you don't dull your knife. Okay? Even the little one. Well, let's see. Yeah, we cut it in half on this side, but on this side we'll cut it. We'll still do the 1/3 thing. We'll just make bigger chunks out of it this way. And they're still good bite-sized pieces. And it definitely pays to have a good knife, because that's why I put my hair out. Pulled it back because I don't like getting hair in my food. That drives me crazy. Anyway, it pays to have a good knife, because if you cut yourself, it makes a cleaner cut and it's easier to heal. A jagged edge on a cut takes much longer to heal. And it drives me crazy when I don't have a sharp knife to use in the kitchen. Another knife safety hint, tip, whatever you want to call it, is cut away from yourself. I have a bad habit of cutting towards myself, and I have to keep reminding myself to cut away. And you don't have to be exact. Oh, see, it slid there. That's why I said you don't have to be exact. You get them into bite-sized pieces like you want. The smaller the pieces, the faster the potato is going to cook. And it's going to take a good 30 to 45 minutes, even at this, for those pieces of potatoes to cook. We're also going to put celery in it. And I went to the store. It was the same price for the celery. They had this section where I don't know why these pieces were torn off, but they were, and so I got those because they were the same price as the bunches of celery, and I didn't need a whole big package of celery that was this big, because my husband and I won't eat it. Take that out of there. The other thing I like about this peeler is it has a little eye core. Take that kind of stuff out. This one's a little larger potato, so you could cut it maybe in 4ths instead of in 3rds, depending upon what size chunks you want to get out of it. Just eyeball it. This is basically the way I was taught. And then just make your cuts. there's all of our potato. Looks like we got all the potatoes out of there. We did, the whole ones. They're all chopped up. Now I'm going to go add some water to it. Okay, here you can see that I've added some water to it, and it's to well cover it because we're going to be boiling it. I'm going to chop up some, if I can get that out of there, I did. I'm going to add some onion. I'm going to chop that up next, and I'll show you how to do it, and some celery to it. And then we'll put it on to boil for a few hours. That's why you want to well cover the potatoes, and I'll set this over here on the stove. And then I'll get an onion and show you how to peel that. I like to cut this end first. I was always taught it made you cry less. Who knows? You can also refrigerate your onions. That'll make it less strong. These are pretty strong onions, but I didn't. So I cut this end off first, and then I cut the other end off with the root. Another reason you need a very sharp knife. And then I use it to peel one layer of the onion. Sometimes you want to peel two, like this one's got some extra brown skin on it here. You can see that right there. I'm going to peel another layer of the onion off. Not following my own rule there of I'm going to peel an extra layer off, I think, because I don't like tough onion. You can actually peel another layer off if you want to. And I'm going to set this here. I'll go dump this in the trash, and again scrape with the side you aren't cutting with so you don't dull it. Cut your onion in half this way, then make cuts along it this way, whatever size chunk of onion you want. Then turn your onion and make cuts this way, and then you'll have your diced onion. And you can put that in with your potato. Real easy. And depending upon how fine you want your onion, you can make these slices closer together. These cuts, both directions, depending upon what size onion you want floating around in your potato soup. Okay, so you were blurry through all the onions. We'll just redo some onion. Alright, so cut off the ends like this. And keep it together, and then it's all a bunch. I don't like to keep the ends on mine. I always chop even the other end. And we'll even chop the ends of this off. We won't discard that. So you like it fresh. There was a big old bunches of them together, and I didn't like that, and they had some of this that was loose, and so that's what I got. I washed my celery first. And then we just go along here, depending upon how much celery you like in yours. I like to put the leaf celery in there. Some people don't like to do that. I think it adds more flavor. I also like the heart of the celery the best. And this looks pretty close to the heart of the celery. I'm just going along, then slice it into that. I'm going to save some of this to make some. My husband likes it for salads and to snack on, so I'm going to save some of it out for that, because he really doesn't like so much celery in his potato soup, because his mom didn't make it with it. We'll save those out to make some cream cheese or some peanut butter or whatever. Oh, camera fell. Not good. That was not good. But I'm going to use all the leafy parts in the soup. He likes to snack on it plain, so I don't know why he doesn't like it in potato soup as well. Doesn't make sense to me. Okay. So I'm going to chop this up a little finer. Yeah, keep your fingers out of the way. Turn the heat on this so it can be boiling. How does that look? That looks pretty good. Ah, see? I'm not following my own rules there. I was using the cutting edge of my blade. Use the backside. It's already been cut in half. Oh, you're just going to be a problem. Get out of there. Why are you being a pain? So, however you want, how little you want your onion, depends upon how thick you make these slices here. Just cut through. And also the slices this way, depends upon how you want your onion, what size you want it. Onion size doesn't matter to us. We just like onion, lots of onion. Okay, this is an addition to the potato soup for my side of the family. I have a small skillet, and something that Mike's mom didn't put into it was bacon. And basically I'd take and cut this up into slices, to 1/4 inch slices approximately, and fry it up. And then once it's has boiled the potatoes for the next, 45 minutes or so, because it's going to boil down a lot of the water. Then I add this in after I've added the salt and the pepper and the stick of butter, a couple of sticks, and what we call Rivels. Then I add this into the soup. And so basically I just take the strips of bacon, and if you're vegetarian, don't add the bacon, because that's the only part that's got meat in it. Well, except we add milk into it, and so you can add soy milk, unless you're okay with drinking regular milk, or you're lactose intolerant. You need the soy milk or almond milk or whatever other milk you want to add to it. I've never made it with those milks, so I don't know what it would taste like, but this is how we make it, because we're omnivores. And I'm going to fry this up and add it after it's cooked down for however long it takes the potatoes to get cooked, which will be 30-45 minutes, but I let it simmer during the day too. And it's always, the potato soup's always better the next day, always. And then I just break these up and stick them in the frying pan, and they break up even more. I know, gross for you vegetarians, sorry. But I'm a carnivore, like my meat. But I'm an omnivore because I eat vegetables too. And so I'm going to stick this in the skillet and fry it up for going into the soup later. I got that cooking. We're going to have this cooking. Yum. That's cooking away. It all looks really good. Looks so yummy. It's getting hot. This is getting hot. And it's just going to take some time now. We just have to wait. And that's the start of potato soup from the May family. And combine a couple of families' potato soup recipe. And the Rivels are basically a cup of flour and an egg that are mixed together and crumbly, kind of like cornmeal. I never was able to get them like cornmeal, But they're like mini dumplings, little bitty tiny dumplings, and I'll show you those later. Because we don't add them until much later. Yum! How does that look? Looks really good. Boiling away. Putting the bacon. Move my teapot over. I think I'm going to make me a cup of hot chocolate because it's snowy out. Just boiling away. Give me a wooden spoon so I can stir it and set it across it. I'm also going to set the wooden spoon across it because it doesn't always work. But say if you put the wooden spoon across a pot, it'll keep it from boiling over. This one's pretty full. I don't think it'll help it. Looks so good. Let's turn our heat down a little bit. I want it to simmer. I think it's time to add some salt and some pepper and some bacon. And some bacon. I'll add some milk. Add some seasoned salt. I like seasoned salt. Okay, so I like to sift my flour when I do this. I'm going to measure the flour. You don't want to pack it in there. You like to scoop it and you take. I probably can't see this. And you slide it with a knife to level it off. And then I put it into a sifter. And I only do just 1 cup of flour and an egg makes the Rivels. And if you want more, only do 1 at a time because it's too much of a mess if you do it otherwise. And it doesn't turn out real well. Break your egg. And use a fork to stir it and make it like pea size, not cornmeal size. And you just stir it into the flour. And just 1 egg is all you need. And you just keep stirring it. Got too small of a bowl. It's going to be kind of messy. Just scrape it off of your fork. Just keep adding more, work more and more flour into it. Move over here. Now I'm just going to put it into the soup like this. And we're going to stir it in. A little more. And stir it in. And we'll thin it out some because we're going to add, we still got quite a bit of milk to add to it. So it's looking kind of thick right now. We'll thin it out with the milk that we add. We'll bring it back to a boil. We gotta let that cook a little bit. It doesn't take long. And now we're gonna add the milk. 3 or 4 cups of milk. This is a 2-cup measure. Stir that in. I think we'll just add one more. Oh, no, we forgot our butter. Can't forget the butter. Should have added it in when I added the salt and pepper before I did the Rivels. So it'll take it a while longer to melt, but that's okay. It all has to heat up. Yes, you add a whole stick of butter. That one isn't a complete stick. It all has to heat up. I know, yum. More fat. And there's my potato soup. Yes, it's more than we'll eat, but we'll enjoy it. We'll put some away, and we'll be eating off of it for a couple of days. And it'll get thicker by tomorrow, and it'll be even better. And soup is served. He is ready to eat. Yum.